Well, good evening, San Bernardino. I'm very happy to join you tonight, but I'm not super excited about the content that I'll be sharing. This is a special edition. It is rounding off from a meeting that happened last night in conjunction with the illegal grinding that took place in the the Sixth Ward on January 25th. So new information has come to light, and I just think we need to do what we do best, which is talk about it and expose it and make sure that those who are responsible are held accountable. And I'm really here tonight because I didn't see any sense of desire on behalf of the Public Works Department last night to want to be accountable for their inaction and for their knowledge. So let's get into this. I'm going to make sure that I give you your moment. Here we go. Okay, you guys are on. I can see you. Very good. Let me check the comments. Okay. So on January 25th, as you guys know, it was put out into Facebook and into the community that illegal grinding was taking place off of Industrial Way. This is a picture of the started grinding mound, and as you can see, all of that like material is being blown. This is silica dust is being blown across our community, and it's even watered down. So what we know is the grinding is illegal in our city. We couldn't figure out how this was even allowed to happen. And myself, the Vermont Neighborhood Association President Barbara Sky, and Planning Commissioner Dolores Armstead all went out there and were like, hey, you can't do this. This dust was allowed to blow for hours and without regulation. Now, when code enforcement finally arrived, about an hour and 20 minutes later from being called, they shut down the project and they issued an administrative citation for $100. So the most dangerous type of contaminant that you can put into, the lungs of people through grinding cement was thrown across our city in 65, mile per hour winds. And this contractor was fined $100 for violating our city policy and AQMD policy. Now, some are saying, and I heard this conversation last night, well, how the city didn't know, the code enforcement got out there very quickly. And, within an hour. Well, guys, that's not true. On January 23rd, 2 days prior to the grinding taking place on site on Industrial Way, Community Economic Director Nathan Freeman and Public Works Director Daniel Hernandez, along with Councilman Ben Reynoso and Councilwoman Kimberly Calvin, and myself through BCC, all received this email. City of San Bernardino, Community Development and Public Works, 12323. Select council members. Good afternoon, people. It appears that this project intends, and this is referencing what on Industrial Way, it appears this project intends to do some grinding of materials on site as a conveyor type equipment described as cups by a subcontractor on site that is for grinding materials. Has been set on site this day. Has the city issued a grinding permit on any debris on this site, and what is the permit number? If so, when did the city happen to set ordinance on grinding on site any debris, cement, asphalt, etc.? Does the city have any code, EPA, Clean Water Act, in transportation of said debris onto or off the construction site? Does the city have guidelines as to the protections to humans, animals, and physical assets from crystalline silica and ground petroleum debris? Does the city have enforcement intentions to protect humans from debris carried in the air from such activities? Thank you, Hank Mitchell, Vermont. This was sent 2 days earlier. Now, what I've learned from talking directly to the council people, Kimberly Calvin and Ben Reynoso, is that they reached out to the city. They specifically asked, what are you doing? What's going on here? What's happening? Director Nathan Freeman called me after this event on the 25th and apologized. He said that Councilman Reynoso had reached out to him, but from the information that Nathan received, he went to a completely different area up in the north end and could not locate this particular site. I said, you got the same email I did, and it gives you the parcel number right up top. I'm so sorry. I didn't have the right information. I didn't see the grinding equipment. Director Hernandez from Public Works has not even responded, had nothing to say. And the city said, this is when we found out 2 days prior. Hi, Dave. Hi, Thomas. Good evening. Well, hey guys, it's a lie. It is an absolute lie for the City of San Bernardino Public Works Department to claim that the first time they were hearing about grinding on site at that particular location was on January 23rd. And I'll tell you why we know that for sure. Because we have the email correspondence between multiple employees in the Public Works Department, including the Deputy Director now / interim city engineer and the contractor at this site, specifically talking about grinding since January 18th. That's right. And we're going to go through each and every one of these emails. And what makes me so upset inside about this particular situation is last night at the Vermont Neighborhood Association meeting, when Director Hernandez was confronted with this information, he absolutely tried to sidestep, lie, deflect what we know to be true. And what we will not do, what is not going to happen, is anyone taking advantage of our city, acting like we don't matter and they are above the accountability to this community. We're not doing that. So let's make it known what Daniel Hernandez and his staff were fully aware of. Absolutely, Scott. Boom. It got to me. Here we go. The lie is exposed. On January 18th of this year at 8:19 a.m., Ken Watson, who is the Public Works NPDS coordinator, Susan Pam, who is now the interim city engineer and deputy director of Public Works, Scott Garrett, an employee in Public Works, Richard Garcia, an employee of Public Works, were all emailed or CC'd on an email from Scott Babcock, who is with RM Dalton Corporation, asking specifically, good morning and thank you for the follow-up. There's one item in my email that we need your guidance and direction on. Please let us know the process to have a record for approval to crush on site. As you have noted in your previous email, we are ready to start crushing once the BMP's erosion control measures have been installed. Please advise. Thank you. Now, right away, right? Red flag, crushing on site or grinding on site. Okay. We don't do that. We don't allow for that. From Ken Watson, NPDS coordinator, manager, sorry, at 12:38 p.m. the same day to Scott, also CCing Susan Pam, Scott Garrett Scott, Richard Garcia. Hello, Scott. Yes. Do you have your AQMD permits for crushing on site? Was crushing on site a part of your conditions of approval, such as your CUP? Thanks. Not, I'm sorry, Mr. Scott, Mr. Babcock, that we do not allow for crushing on site in our city. In fact, it has been publicly discussed over 2.5 years that we do not allow crushing on site in our city. That our city was possibly facing litigation over this issue. Nobody said that. Nobody chimed in. Then, roughly 3 hours later on the same day, Mr. Babcock responds, "Hi, Ken. We've done this a few times now over the years, and we have not experienced a request of this nature. There is no mention of crushing requirements on the conditions of approval. Here's our understanding. The AQMD notification for demolition rule 1403 is not an approval permit from AQMD. It is simply a 14-day notification for when the activities will be permitted. AQMD may then schedule unannounced random inspections of the job site to comply with air quality regulations. On-site crushing of the rubble is means and methods for the demolition contractors, similar to the pulverizing of the existing asphalt paving, which is also a scope of work that does not require agency approvals, except for in both cases, the approval of the geotechnical engineer and or consultant, and occasionally the district water board, if the site or rubble has heavy-duty hazardous material or specific remediation requirements. An AQMD permit is required for commercial crushing plants that generate over so many tons per day. I believe it's 2,500 or maybe 4,000 tons per day. Our demolition subcontractor, BHL Industries, has completed many public projects within the city of San Bernardino and county that has not previously been a requirement. Perhaps the city engineer who CC'd on this or another staff person can provide guidance related to our on-site mobile crushing efforts, which for this project is limited to a total of 2,500 tons over 2 to 3 days work. We can certainly provide written approval from our geotechnical engineer regarding the on-site crushing. If you feel that is beneficial, please review and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you, Scott Babcock. Again, very, very super clear as to what their intentions were doing for crushing and grinding on site. And so much so that they asked Mr. Watson, if you are unclear of your regulations and rules, please, by all means, go check with Susan Pan, aka your city engineer, who is CC'd on this email, and provide us the adequate feedback that we need to move forward with this. What does the city do? What does Ken Watson say an hour later? Hello, Scott. Thank you for the clarification. I'm not an expert in AQMD field, but the notification rule is what I should have stated in my previous email. That I just dealt with on another property just a mile up from your project. That would probably be Oxbow. Please proceed accordingly to your NOI, your Notice of Intent, SWPPP. Best regards. Again, every city person was CC'd on this email. Again, the response the next morning, January 19th at 9:20 a.m. Hello, Scott. This is from Brian Davis. This is BHL Industries, who is the grinder and crusher firm. Hello, Scott. Do you have the green light to move the crusher to the start no later than Tuesday of next week? If not, that same crusher is going to a project in Huntington Park. That project in Huntington Park is going to take 4 weeks to complete. We can return it to Industrial Parkway February 24th. Okay. Joe Carpenter, from Scott Babcock replies, hi, Bryant. Please copy Joe on all correspondences related to this project. He's running this one in the field. My vote is yes. Bring your equipment onto our site in San Bernardino next Tuesday, 1/24/23. We should be in good shape with our BMPs by then. Joe Carpenter, who I met, responds to Scott Babcock, hey guys, yes, we should be good by then. We are starting BMPs tomorrow and should be finished by Monday. Thank you, Joe Carpenter. There we have it. Residents of San Bernardino, my friends, my neighbors throughout our city was well aware. Our Public Works Department was CC'd on every interaction for 5-6 emails, 2 days straight, asking about grinding and crushing on site in our city. And Daniel Hernandez, the Director of Public Works, does not believe that Public Works should be accountable. He does not believe that he should have to respond or answer any questions. He let the Director of Community Development hang out to dry and repeatedly apologize while lying at the same time, pretending like they didn't know what was going on in our city. That is not okay. So we have to look at some solutions to this, because this is very serious. One, and we've done this in the past, the community can file a formal complaint against the public work employees who were on the email chain and the director who was emailed personally and oversees his department. We can also demand a formal apology from the public works director. And we can ask that every employee involved be held accountable. Those are our solutions. This is what we as the public, in accordance with our charter, can ask for. You can reach out directly to Daniel Hernandez at his email address, which is hernandez_DA@sbcity.org. I would recommend, if you do that you also email or CC our interim city manager, Charles McNeely, which is McNeely_Charles@sbcity.org. I am also going to be reaching out to AQMD and filing a formal complaint. I have all the videos from that day, and it's unbelievable to me. The lack, and this is what gets me, and this is what, and I'm going to tell you a very candid conversation that I had with the Community and Economic Development Director last night about this whole situation and how they're handling this. This was absolutely 100% avoidable. This never had to transpire in our city, but out of complete negligence, this city was exposed to crystalline silica dust. Schools, employees right across the street, the community at large, because people like Daniel Hernandez do not care about this city. People like Nathan Freeman don't care about this city. And so what I made very clear last night in my conversation with Nathan Freeman is that their predecessors, Chris Jensen and Mike Huntley, lied to this community and committed fraud, and they're gone. Former Mayor John Valdivia had a $500,000 war chest, but he lied to this community and committed fraud, and he's gone. Former city manager Robert Field lied to this community, committed fraud, and now he's gone. They are not the exception to any rule in our city. We will never, ever go back to being taken advantage of, treated like a dumping ground, and watching people who make between $176,000 to $206,000 of our tax dollars a year and take it out of our city will never, ever be allowed to walk away from the accountability that comes with being a part of Team San Bernardino. That's my guarantee. And the way I see it, Daniel Hernandez will not make it 6 more months continuing the way he is. And there are other issues that I have found out through public documents that I will post, where he has, I believe, committed fraud, where he is messing with our RFPs. And I believe he may be on the take. And that causes litigation. That costs the taxpayers of this city millions of dollars over the course of the last 3.5 years. We're not doing that. I can't. I'm sorry, guys. I try to be as positive about our outlook, but the only way that I can be positive is when I know that corruption does not seep publicly or quietly. That accountability should happen not by the exposure of public documents, but by the knowledge of those who have the power to hold other people accountable before anybody else knows. That's all I want. That's what I'm here for. And our council members are aware of this. Outside of Councilwoman Calvin and Councilman Ben Reynoso, who were actively on this, asking for information, trying to find out what was going on. Our other council members know, and I haven't heard a single word from anybody. So I'm asking if you would please pass this particular session on. It's not very long. I'm hoping the community will see it so they know that it's their options if they feel the same. If you'd like to be a part of the complaint that I'm going to file, please just put your name in the comments, or you can message me quietly. I'm going to work on this over the weekend, and I'll file it by Tuesday, so everybody has a couple days to decide if they want it. I'll put a draft on my Facebook for you, and we can do it collectively, but I'm going to do it regardless. So I appreciate you guys' time, and please share. Let's make sure that our city is taken care of, that people are accountable. Okay, Scott, you'll be a part of it. I appreciate that. Paula, hello. Casey, the chosen date also was one of our windiest in Santa Ana conditions. Yes, 65-mile-an-hour winds were blowing when I was taking that video. It was unreal, and that is watered down. I'm going to do a series, as now that Teddy Sanchez, Sandra Ibarra, Juan Figueroa, and Fred Charette want to allow this type of action and grinding to take place in our city. I'm going to do a thorough walkthrough of what crystalline silica is and the effects of it for our community. So that'll come at a different time, but I really wanted to be specific to what happened in this instance. And after last night's meeting and watching Daniel Hernandez, just whatever, we're moving on. It happened. Sorry, no, we're not doing I'm sorry. Let's move on until the next time you do it again. So, all right, guys, thank you so much. I truly appreciate all your time tonight. Half an hour, really quick. I will be coming back at, I think Sunday or Monday night. We've got the commission meetings coming up, and I want to make sure that I go over those agendas. There's a couple of them on the same days, but I appreciate you guys. Have a great and happy weekend. Be safe out there. Bye, San Bernardino.